All right, you guys, it's another week.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Demetra K. I know I've been away for some time. It's been like a week or so. But anyway, I am back here with my partner in crime, Donovan. His heart don't pump no Kool-Aid Sadiq. And we are here on this cloudy but cool Sunday afternoon. As some would say, the Sunday before Christmas, before everybody completely loses their minds and stuff. And so I'd like to say a big giant thank you to Donovan for all that he does with the podcast. And hello to you guys on the podcast. I promise you in the new year, I'm gonna get this whole podcast thing down. So I don't want you to think I forgot about you. Hello to YouTube. You guys will see this in its entirety, the bells and the whistles and everything like that. Also, a big giant thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything that he does behind the scenes to make the show go farther. To the Ride or Die audience on Facebook, you guys will be here having this conversation with Donovan and I. And so let's go ahead and get started. It is always the purpose of the Demetra K Show to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. And also I'd like to say thank you to my little big brother for getting me the shirt that says Blackness, red, black, and green, because he knows I rep the red, black, and green. I just want to point this out to you. My niece, who makes bracelets, she made this for me a year or so ago, red, black, and green. This one, I believe this one belonged to my mom. I'm not for sure, but I believe it did. I don't know who bought me this a couple years back, but they did, and I got these from South Africa. So I was like, you know what? Why not put them all on and represent red, black, and green, right? I always do that, but so you can see it, right?
I should have worn my Steve Biko shirt.
It's never too late, brother.
No.
It's never too late. So anyway,
it's cold.
You know what? It's cold, but I feel good, right? So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. As I said, it is the weekend before Christmas, and a lot of people are out there trying to do some last-minute shopping, which brings me to my point, and I'm going to get to every last one of you guys' comments on Facebook, which brings us to our topic. It's Christmas time, and are we going to spend our last dime? So anyway, I've had a couple of conversations with a few people in the last couple of weeks, and the one that I had most recently was with a young man. I'll just say he was a young man to keep his identity secure, if you will. So he was kind of lamenting and fretting over not having the money he needed right at the time to go buy Christmas presents. He was to the point of like, I'm going to go donate some blood so I'm going to go donate some blood so that I can have some money to buy people things for Christmas. And so I said, are you serious? I said, is it that serious for you to go do that? I said, if you don't have the money to go buy people Christmas presents, why are you stressing yourself out about it? And he's like, because I know people are going to probably buy me things, and, I just don't want to show up, because they go to this big party and stuff every year and their family gets together on Christmas Eve where they do this gift exchange. And so I said, if you don't have the money, then you shouldn't, you shouldn't be trying to spend this money on people. And I said, these people should probably realize that
things are tough out here.
Right. It's hard in these streets.
Right.
So anyway, so I asked him a simple question, because he also has a child. I said, does your daughter have life insurance? And he says, no. I said, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I said, this is just going to sound a little austere, but how is it that your child doesn't have a life insurance policy, but you're trying to conjure up all this money to go buy people presents? I said, are these people that you're trying to get a present for, are they going to, if God forbid something happens to your child, which is not, I'm not speaking that into existence, but God forbid something happens to her, are they going to be able to pull some money together to help you bury her? And he says, well, I would think they would if they could. I said, that's not what I asked you.
Oh, wow.
Are they going to be able to do that? And I said, so the point being is you need to be proactive. I said, but that's counterproductive to everything rational for you to spend all your, and it doesn't sound like you have any money at all. Rent's getting ready to be due. Mm-hmm. Car notes,
everything's coming in
on the first of the month. I mean, it's the 22nd, so we got roughly 8-9 days until the 1st. And so it doesn't sound like you have any like you don't have any income.
Right.
But yet you're trying to conjure up money to go buy people gifts. I mean, I was like, what's going on here? And so it made me ponder. We talked about this last year at the beginning, during Christmas season. not just black people, but since we are catering to a black audience, I wanted to talk about us and our spending habits. Black people disproportionately outspend every other race on everything, disproportionately, because we are only 14 roughly % of the population. And they say we spend about 17% more than most other groups, even though they have more disposable and more income and more money than we do. We go out there and buy what they say the stuff with the cool factor, the stuff that's trending and trendy and things like that. And so, although we do buy life insurance policies, just not to the tune that everyone else does. You know, it's skewed in...
Well, a $10,000 policy with the cost of everything going up ain't going to cut it.
Right, and that's another thing people don't understand. And so, I just wanted to have... No, we didn't do a show Friday, Sydney, because Donovan was sick, and I had a whole lot of stuff to do.
Not sick, I'm just congested. I'm still congested. No, I'm not sick, though. I'm just congested.
So you mean to tell me you could have did the show?
What, yesterday?
Friday.
Oh, Friday? Yeah.
Oh, okay. We gonna talk after the show. So anyway, that's why we didn't do it. So I wanted to have this broad conversation about group economics and just everything, in between about it, because we and the black community need to do better. It says that we earn about $1.3 trillion a year, and we spend about $1.2 trillion outside of our community. Now, indeed, a lot of that stuff is stuff we need, but even more of it probably is stuff we don't necessarily need. And so we give almost all of our money away to everyone else. We talk about this all the time. That is less than 12 years or 13 years at this point.
12 years next month.
That we're going to have zero wealth in the black community. Now, we're not talking about on an individual basis, like Donovan's balling out of control. He's a millionaire and all this other stuff. But we're talking about black people collectively. We are going to be dead broke. And so spending money, especially during Christmas time, on things we don't need is not helping that.
Well, let me clarify that. When she said I'm a millionaire, it isn't like I'm a million in debt. No, I'm not like some of these people out here who, for some reason, they didn't take a good math class.
Right.
Wealth is what you have in the bank. Okay?
Right.
I'm not on that side. I'm on the bank side.
Right.
That's what I got in the bank.
We sure is, because that's my friend. So anyway, so we need to figure out collectively. Now, of course, we know that is not just what we're doing. We know there's systemic and institutional racism. There's a lot of things working against black people.
But we can't keep using that as an excuse.
No, we can't, but it's a fact.
Yeah,
so it does exist. There's a lot of things that exist that hurts black people, like trying to get loans and, just a whole host of things that would help us. But to your point, since we're cognizant of that, then there's things we can do to stop the bleeding, to help us get out of financial ruin, like even more so than we are already.
Right. Before you start in the questions real quick, did you hear about that fool in North Carolina that was picked up here in San Diego? $88,000 Now, okay, and the reason I'm bringing that up is, just like you said, it's hard for us to get loans and stuff. To let a black man get anywhere close to a bank vault, much less work in the bank. And that's what this fool does. And stealing is wrong no matter how you look at it. But get off the social media. This guy, he solved the case for the FBI. It was...
Hello.
Yes.
I got bricks.
Yeah.
I got racks.
$20,000.
Right.
He put down on a Mercedes. See, I told him he couldn't get a Hyundai? Something that's inconspicuous?
Right.
Oh, we got to stop with
about it.
Okay.
Hey, King Billy, what's happening? It says power to the people,
yes.
Queen. Yes, power to the people. What's happening, Tay? What's happening, Jonelle? He says hello to everybody. And Tay says sell blood for gifts. It ain't that deep.
Tay Cold. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen her. Yeah. That's what's her name?
No, this is Tay.
Oh, Coulter. That's Tay Coulter.
Oh, yes. I see.
We got a lot of Tays, y'all.
I see. Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's not that deep to sell blood to. It's what is it called? Like blood money? Is it blood money? Here's your gift. Is some blood money involved? You don't know what I have to do to get you this gift, and so it's not that deep.
But here's the thing. Okay, we've known each other for over 30
years. Hey, Sydney, what's happening, Niecy?
We've known each other for over 30 years. Do you really have to give me a gift and vice versa? It's the fact that we're friends and we've been friends over an amount of years and da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? I'm all for the spirit of Christmas. I'm not really into the Christian part of the Christmas thing because this is when Jesus was born. However, you know what I mean? It's like...
Christmas is a man-made holiday.
Right. That's where I'm at.
In case people don't realize that is a man-made holiday. And I tell you guys all the time, I impress upon y'all to watch this series called The Century of the Self. It's a 4-part series that originally aired on PBS. That is on YouTube. You can watch it for free. It's about 4 hours. Watch it in your spare time. It's worth the watch. But it teaches and it tells us how we as a society became so consumeristic. It was all by design. Right. And so here we are, Christmas. Christmas happens every year. It is not for the glorification of Jesus Christ. Not at all. For those of you guys who believe in it, it's for the glorification of big corporations.
Right.
It is, like I told my daughter the other day, it's almost like when Thanksgiving is over, it's like this giant bell goes off and people just lose their minds. Like,
what do you mean? I started seeing Christmas stuff in September.
But I'm saying, it's like that you know, like at the stock exchange, it's like, go, spend.
But isn't this crazy, though? How can, if we're at the bottom of the economic totem pole in this country, how can we get excited about finances we don't have to partake in this charade?
You know, to me, it's really about educating each other. We have to do that. Like my daughter's, her birthday is the day after Christmas. You know,
Christmas baby. All right.
Yeah, and so I've never raised her with the ideology.
Did you get her both presents together?
No, yeah. I never did that. Although people did that to her. But even as a child, she never, I never raised her with the expectation of Christmas is this big grand thing you have to do. And if you know, your mom and daddy don't get you nothing, they ain't shit.
Yeah. My son's born in January, so he was due around, he stayed in the oven a little longer than he wanted to.
Right.
But, same thing with him. I mean, it was like, even his birthday, it was important to us, the people who love him, and we gave him a gift.
Right.
But we kind of reversed it. I said, what's going to make your birthday special is how my mom did me and my brother.
Right.
We would do for other people.
Exactly. Since you want to do it. And Tay says, And Al says, tell your audience about the closing the door to people, even during the holidays. Closing the door to people. Expound upon that. And Tay says, he should work on building that savings and not giving gifts. Yes, and that's what I told him. I was like, you don't have a savings account, then they shouldn't have gifts.
If they don't have insurance, they shouldn't have
gifts.
Period.
Like, they shouldn't even be and this is a whole part of the whole gearing people toward being a consumer. They make you feel guilty. If you don't buy somebody something, you're a horrible person. No, you're a horrible person if you don't have a savings and you can't, God forbid something happens to one of your loved ones, do the necessary things to make sure that their final wishes are taken care of and you're not stressed. Because I've never, to God be the glory, I've never had to bury somebody and wasn't prepared to do that, but I've seen many people do that. Have to bury a loved one and they didn't have the resources to do it, and you think you're struggling now and things are hard. Try to grieve at the same time when you're trying to scrape together money enough to not even put them in a great grand funeral, but just to put them in a box.
Do you know what's sad? The government, city, municipalities and stuff, the morgues are getting so packed with people who can't afford to get the bodies out of there that they're just, throwing them out there and burning them.
They cremate them after 30 days.
Yeah, they're putting time limit on it. And the first thing I do when I find out somebody's loved one died and they're panicking like, oh, we need some money. The first thing I ask them, were they in the military?
Well, of course they nodded because they would hopefully know.
Yeah, they would hopefully know. But again, for those, I ain't joining no white man's military, whatever. I'm not saying join. But what I'm saying is this is another example of not having resources. If you did the time, 2 years or whatever, whatever you needed to do.
But they did, so that's, that's kind of too late. And so Jonelle says, majority of our minds are enriched in the game, so we will continue to do the same. Traditions equal the same conditions, and we are enslaved to the same 365 tradition, giving credit and wealth to the rich, while going into debt with zero understanding of the origin of root of what we truly celebrate and claim, just lost in the programming. That's exactly right. We don't even know why we're doing it anymore. We're just doing it because somebody told us we need to do it. Hey, Christopher, what's happening? He says, wealth is what's in the bank and additional assets.
Exactly.
Absolutely. As Donovan said earlier, it's not all like you own a house, but it's still debt if it's not paid off. You have a car.
You're still paying the note.
You're still paying the note. It's debt until you pay it off. It is still a liability and not an asset. So great point. You also say we need to open our own credit union. Correct. We need to do that. There's a couple of black banks out there. It sounds like they are dwindling because black people don't put money in black banks.
Yeah, and it's so weird how these banks crash the economy, cause massive wealth gap, expanded the wealth gap, especially in the black communities. And yet people still bank at Chase. They still bank at Wells Fargo. They still do those things.
Right. And so, there's two things to the whole banking thing. So any bank in the United States is just a fact. It's going to be regulated by the FDIC, which is by the government, which is a good thing. But if you bank at a black bank, then you have a better chance of getting, loans and stuff because it's your own people. You don't have some white supremacist banker sitting across from you, and they're fudging the numbers and they know when they see you walk in the bank, you ain't getting a loan.
But then again, you've got
all kinfolk ain't kinfolk.
You've got people like Aunt Maxine, whose husband was a banker, and he got caught in that banking scandal that did a lot of things, and she got censored because she helped.
But she got reelected too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The ignorance of what we're doing. We got to start holding these people accountable.
Correct. And Max, what's happening? It says just budget your money. You should be able to save some money for gifts. Yes, that is true.
What budget? What?
There's a lot of things called Christmas clubs and all that.
No, forget all that because Christmas. But you know what? I'm glad you brought up Christmas clubs. Do you guys know you get a higher interest rate by putting your money in a Christmas account versus that savings account at the bank?
Right, well, because they know it's going to be short term.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of which, what's that thing that my father-in-law always says? You beg for what
buy what you want and beg for what you need, and that's what us predominantly, not all of us, but predominantly in the black community, we buy what we want and beg for what we need. What we want is the material things, the things that make us look good. As I always say, a lot of times in our community, we are material rich and cash poor. We have things, but we don't have the money. God forbid something happens.
Right. I have 3 children. I'm a single mother. I've got 2 baby daddies. I'm just hypothetical. 2 baby daddies. I was married to both of the men, but I have 2 baby daddies for the 3 kids. Got child support, a fair amount of child support. I know Christmas is coming up. How do I not have money for gifts?
As Max said, it's a budgeting thing. Yeah. We spend like my mom and the old people used to say, the money is burning a hole in your pocket.
Or your palm is itching.
Right. No, that's when they say you're supposed to be getting some money. Now, Al says black people are not parsimonious when it obviously comes to money.
You know what? Yeah. I left my thesaurus in the thing. Next time, remember to put the thesaurus out here because when Al gets on it, he puts these big words out there. So.
We agree with it. We don't know what you said, but we with it.
Yes.
And Christopher, you says Saturnalia. What did he say? Hey, Ricky, what's happening? And Jonelle says, a fool and his money will soon part.
Amen.
So if our minds isn't right and we are not mathematically enlightened, we will continue through our to throw our money away for foolery and appetite not to build and invest in the elevation of our future. Absolutely. We have to get our minds right and ask ourselves, when we're spending money, one thing, do I need it? And what is it going to do to our community ultimately? And can I, if I do need it, can I get it from somebody like myself? Because that's what everyone else does. Everyone else being other communities, Asians, Hispanics, white people, they spend the money with themselves first. They don't go outside of their community and say, well, you know what? I'm going to see if I can go get it with the black people first.
Here's what they do. They come into our community, set up their businesses, right? So they get our dollars, and then they go back to their community where they live. If you go to an Asian community, Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, whatever, Asian community, they have their own banks in their own language. And they put their money in their own banks.
And under their mattresses, they pull out racks. Oh, how much you need? You're going to open up a business? Okay, go in the back and get that $10,000. And it's true. I'm not
we're not exaggerating.
It's the truth. Yeah. Hey, Todd, this has a bunch of pagan white folks worshiping, and then we just have fallen into that. But see, those corporations, which a lot of them are predominantly white owned, they know where the money comes from, and that's us. Make them think, okay, I love Kaepernick. I'm going to tell you right now, I wish that was son-in-law. I wish that could be my son-in-law because he's too young for me. But, he's got this commercial, which is dope, right? Got this commercial. These shoes are going to come out tomorrow. They're not terribly expensive, but, Nike knows what they're doing. Nike knows what they're doing. Let's put this shoe out, and it's going to fly off the shelves, right?
Because I want to be the first to get them.
Well, because, again, there's that cool factor, and they're cool. Don't get me wrong. The shoes are cool. Black people are going to want them, and we're going to end the year right. It's not a coincidence that they're coming out the day before Christmas Eve, right? And so Christopher says, and by calculation of calendar between the Gregorian and Julian calendar, and corporations have capitalized on it. I'm not really familiar a whole lot with those two concepts, but I am very well versed on the great marketing machine, if you will. It's all by design. As I said, watch The Century of the Self. It will explain it to you. It's a whole psychological job that's been done on people in America and now worldwide, all to the benefit of big corporations.
Do you guys know out there?
Asada.
Do you guys know out there during the Civil Rights Movement, one of the main reasons that a lot of these city municipalities like Birmingham and the Civil Rights Movement and Lyndon Johnson signed a lot of that legislation to let Negroes go in there? Because, like you said a couple years ago, they realized green is green.
Even if it's coming from black hands.
Even if it's from black hands. And that's exactly one of the main reasons why they started changing their
absolutely
policies.
And there's also a video on YouTube called How to Sell to the Negro Market, where this came out like 59 or something like that, 1959, where they're like, hey, you know what, I know we've been kind of hating on black people, but they've got a lot of money and we need to figure out a way to get it. And it's been working ever since. And we just haven't figured out a way to break that, right?
Right. I mean, their racism goes as far as their wallet.
Okay. And Tay says, I brought my kids a lot of stock in 2 different companies. Merry Christmas. I'm giving the best gift in the long run. Absolutely. I mean, give them a gift that's going to keep on giving.
Okay. For those guys that are listening out there and you're in traffic, get ready to go travel, whatever you're doing, Shantae is balling, okay? I happen to know, I went to a dealership and she went and got her a Tesla. It's going to be delivered tomorrow evening.
That's the Christmas present?
Yes, a Tesla.
I ain't mad at you.
Hey, if you got it, you got it.
Right.
And
Christopher says, I grew up on Kwanzaa. We made gifts together as a family. Right. I mean.
But notice how they've commercialized Kwanzaa now.
Yeah, Kwanzaa is commercialized. I mean, they're like, we're going to get their money regardless.
Something. Look, if you were Jewish, they're going to get that money too. They're going to get the Jewish money too.
Okay. And Donnie says, powerful. Yes, indeed. And Christopher, he says, yep, insurance is okay, but I believe in prepaying for final arrangements. Well, don't let me forget that about the final arrangements, because I want to talk about that. I'm already kind of get some of these comments down. And Jonelle says, desire fuels the will, and whom controls you via your desire regulates your pockets. The root of why we as black people spend how we spend is due to a lack of knowledge. So we must, as a majority, consume for the sake of ignorance and vanity, because that's where our minds and value systems are. Absolutely. It's, as I said, it's the cool factor. We like things that are have the cool factor, and corporations know that. Black people also give products and services the cool factor, because, I mean, let's take something like the infamous chicken sandwich. You know, it wasn't cool until black Twitter, if you will, tweeted about it, and people lost their minds, so we put the cool factor on it, a chicken sandwich. So corporations know that. Give it to black people and they're going to make it hot. That's your test
bed. Yep.
Exactly. What's happening, Commissioner Baker? It says, Merry Christmas to you.
Yes,
same to
Merry
you.
Christmas.
And Al says, I gave a family member a big gift wrapped very nicely. Once they opened the present, it was nothing inside. It's the thought that counts. F family. Oh, my God. Al is on one, you guys. So Christopher says, I I prepaid for my final arrangements at the age of 27. Okay, so before I get into that, can you explain to how you prepaid for that? Because, I mean, it's possible, but I want to see how you did that.
Right, and I have a question, too, because a lot of that prepaid stuff, what if they decided to develop where you're supposed to be buried and stuff into a development? Now what do you do? Or that company that you prepaid to goes out of business. What do you do then?
Well, that's why I want to ask him exactly how, what does it mean that you prepaid for your final arrangements? And Al says, we discussed my new theory with people with the closing the door method. I still don't understand what that means. He says, I was at the bank and this old lady asked me to help check her balance, so I pushed her ass down. And Shanita, what's happening? He says, it's all for profit. I'm getting like my grandfather. I'm putting my money under my mattress.
Yep, I believe it. Hey, and I thought you said that your mom doesn't come on your page no more because the government.
Right. I mean, wow.
No. About her mom, she protects her baby.
As she should.
Yeah, she protects her baby.
As she should.
But see, that ain't her baby. Because her mother's a red bone. Can't be her baby.
You also say, but for real though, I tell my cousins this all the time. I see many buy an expensive car and don't have a house. Yeah, I mean, you park it in an apartment under, not even a garage, but it's what do you call that thing?
Awning.
Mm-hmm. You know that you got to put the car cover over it. And every time you hear something outside, you're looking out the window.
Look, and then you're so tired you don't even put the car awning on top of the car because you're so tired from being in traffic all day.
And you got to park it way away from somebody because you don't want nobody to scratch your car.
Which doesn't make sense to me. If you're in an apartment, why would you need a Mercedes?
Or get them kids away from my car.
Yeah. So, and then you hear the horror stories like the car's been scratched.
Right. Exactly. And Christopher says, we created mathematics and they have taken that sacred knowledge to monetize a national economy. I mean, look at the formula used to determine our GDP. If we take back our knowledge, we can start winning. Absolutely. But again, as my mom would say, we get caught up by the glitter. And she says all that glitter is not gold. Mm-hmm. But we don't figure that out until, we get it and like, damn.
Do you guys realize that...
I can't pay my light bill.
Do you guys realize that almost half of our GDP goes to the defense industry now? So if we would take half of that we can pay for schools.
Which is what candidate talks about that, but they don't listen.
Right.
Andrew Yang, he talks about that, in decreasing the military spending.
Right. I mean, we're in a 20-year war, but we're not at a major war. So why does the defense budget keep going up and up and up? It's mostly for R&D. For those that don't know what that is, that's research and development. So we're paying these corporations, Boeing and Lockheed, because there's only two of them, major, billions and trillions of dollars for stuff that might not even work.
Right.
And it takes them years to develop. Right. And that's where your money's going. Do you know the average military person salary is $19,000 a year?
That's it?
That's the average.
So where's this money going?
Think about it.
Ricky, he says Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, all that shit needs to go. I'm with you.
Well, put it like this. I'm going to have to disagree with him. I don't think it needs to go. It needs to go for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's get rid of the foolishness for us.
It's just all the way to get your money. And again, if you guys, I forgot to tell you, if you are watching in a watch party, come on this side so I can see your comments. Hey, Kai. She says, hey,
my cousin. That's my
cousin Don. Hey, D.
Yep.
Girl, love your hair. Yeah. Thank you.
My aunt. That's my aunt that passed recently. She's like my second mom. Mm-hmm. So we grew up like brothers and sisters. So. Cool. She's right behind me. My brother's the oldest. I'm number 2. She's number 3.
I bet you are number 2. And Jonelle says, Eddie Murphy just said in an interview he was blowing some of his money being Elvis collector. And one day as he was older, he looked up at all this stuff and was like, what is this crap? Mm-hmm. Get this crap out of here, which only bears witness to how we just waste money on things that we want, even desire in the future, or will mean nothing to us in a few moments of time. Yes, material things do what? They depreciate.
Now, it depends now.
We ain't talking about your comic books.
Right, that's what I'm saying. How many of us knew that when I was coming up, I think when I first started collecting comic books, 30 cents, which was a lot of money. You ask your parents, they ready to whip your ass. You got to do some chores for that. You know what I mean? It's like they ain't gonna give you no 30 cents just for nothing. So you give a kid 30 cents. Now they're like, what the hell is that? But I have comic books that are worth. I had to take them off the wall because Dee and her.
My daughter's sitting in the living room. Let me send her a text.
Exactly. So I put them in the safe, whatever they're like. But who knew certain things would have such a value over a long period of time?
Right. So. And Al says, "'Twas the night before Xmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Not a creature was stirring, not even a rat." A rat, not a mouse, because the house was in the ghetto. There's something wrong with Al, I swear, for God and 12 disciples. And Shamina says, everything is commercialized.
Yeah.
Yes, everything. Tay says, I will disagree with everyone here. Christmas gifts for my family are more so things you wouldn't buy for yourself. Yep. I am frugal with my money, so I'm always grateful to receive things. I missed my thing. Hold on a second. I'm frugal with my money, so I'm always grateful to receive things. I tell myself I will hold out on quote unquote. Also, why can't we see Christmas gifts as a blessing to others?
Yes.
You get others gifts and you receive them. Therefore, you get a return on your investment. I will say I usually get meaningful gifts that include pictures and all of that. The young man, quote unquote, you speak of may need to manage his money better.
Yep.
No, absolutely. And so...
But that's what Christmas is supposed to be about, doing for others. Not, oh, look at me, I'm going to get mommy. I want.
I agree with you, Tay. Christmas, the gifts are not bad. What makes the giving bad is when you don't have it to give.
Right.
And that's where people go wrong. Now, me personally, I'm just not one that I don't participate in Christmas. I tell everybody all the time, I was born in the Nation of Islam, so that's not something that was taught to me or my siblings. We didn't learn that. Now, did my father and my mom get us stuff? Yeah, they did, but we understood it wasn't because of this whole this Christmas ideology. It was really because my cousins was going to get stuff, so we got stuff too. But I never grew up believing in the whole premise of Christmas, so I didn't teach that to my daughter. But one thing for sure is, I come from a family of financial literate people, if you will. So I never believe in giving something you don't have to give. Right. If it's going to cost me, that's like me going,
financial burden.
Yes, that's like me going, because my ultimate car, one of them is a G-Wagon. Mm-hmm. I want a G-Wagon. Now, I could go to Mercedes and get me a G-Wagon, but I don't want to be having to go on the stroll to pay for the shit.
Or calling me to co-sign.
Yeah, I don't want to have to stress getting it. So if that G-Wagon at this point in my life is going to cause me some stress, then I don't need it.
Well, a good example, I could have gotten
good point.
Yeah, I could have gotten a Mercedes when I started getting a car. Mm-hmm. I was with a friend at a dealership. He was looking for a car. And I saw this car. I told the guy whatever the deal is. And I said, oh, it's a 4-banger with a turbo on it? Da-da-da. It was a good deal.
But you have a car, but you hadn't bought a car in 20-something
20 years. Yeah, 20 years. And I'm still driving the older car than I'm doing the newer car.
We looking at the new car right now. It's got a cover on, probably ain't moved in eons.
No, I drive it at least once a week. To the base and back, and keep it. You got to do that as a mechanic.
Old lady from Pasadena style. Right.
It's a 2017. It has 8,500 miles on it. In California. That's unheard of. Right.
And Al says, I will be glad when Christmas is over because that Salvation Army bell ringer outside of Walmart is effing irritating. And Tate says, also, budgeting Christmas gifts can really mean spending $5 to $10 on someone. It was true. But it said that the average American that participates in Christmas shopping spends about $1,050. That's about $1,000 or so on spending for others. And so that's nice if you have it. Yeah. But it's not nice if you don't have it and you're trying to figure out how to get it.
My tax is going to come in February. I'm going to file early. Ain't that how we do?
I don't do that.
Yeah, but a lot of us do that. I mean, to me, people, if you're listening, especially you single parents out there, and I say parents because you could be a male or a female, you single parents out there, it is not worth the financial burden of messing up your credit because you want to give your kids a good Christmas, one good Christmas, because that credit is way more valuable. Your credit is way more valuable.
You want to give your children something, I say this all the time, give them what? The gift of knowledge.
Gift of knowledge.
Give them the gift of knowledge, whether it's something wisdom you're imparting upon them or getting them a book. but get them something they can actually use, right? Hey, Sharon, you say Nikes and Adidas, Gatorade puts currency back in black communities. Yeah, they do, but not to the tune of the money they're making from black communities. So to your point, which is a good point, like the shoes, the campaign that Colin Kaepernick is involved in with Nike, they do give a percentage of that back, and he does too, of his earnings to social causes and things like that. So it's not all bad, but look at them so I don't think we really understand that as a community. Black people, our wealth is about $15,000 per household on average. Now I'm saying everybody net worth. In comparison to 170 of white households. And so it doesn't sound like we should be giving our money away to those corporations, because it doesn't sound like overall we have that money. Now, individually, yes, but a lot of black people have it individually, but as a collective, we don't have the money to give to those people. And so unless Nike and Adidas are giving a big amount to actually help build up black communities by way of businesses,
which they're not,
and programs and education, stuff like that, then it's just it's symbolism, if you will, just to say we did it. That whole corporate social responsibility, if you will. And Al says, you don't remember what I said I'm going to start doing to people by closing the door. Damn, Al, I'm almost 50 years old, okay? And people tell me a lot of stuff. You're going to have to, can you just tell us? And Shamita says, and most young military members receive food stamps, which is sad.
Yeah, very, very sad.
That is very sad.
A lot of people don't know that. They think, in your military, you're making good money. Well, yeah, if I'm living in the dorms, I've got a meal card and stuff. Yeah, you remember the day. She can tell you. Well,
I thought you almost said you remember the D. I was like, what?
The day.
The day. Yeah. You don't have to expound on the day.
Well, when you're young, you're 19, that's all you need, a space and things like that.
Right.
But if you have a family and you're ranked so, and Shamita's a military retiree, so she remembers those days where, you're just living in the dorms and that's all you need. But the average military person overall, if you take all the military, the average is $19,000.
That's sad. And Jonelle says, majority of masses of black people is not students of mathematics. And to quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, those who do not know mathematics will always be subjected to those who... to those who know mathematics, and the slavery program not to face reality, more or less know mathematics. And that's the point, I think, with us, is that we won't get the knowledge. And if somebody's giving us the knowledge, we refute the knowledge because we are too busy trying to hold on to, and I said this to myself earlier, sometimes no one defends white supremacy like black people. Absolutely. But I think a lot of times we don't know we're defending white supremacy because we hold on to these talking points, whether it's defending Christianity, which I don't want to get into that argument, or whether it's defending the Democrat Party. It's just like if somebody says something different outside of what we know, then it's this big old you this and you that and it's just like, gosh, just get some information.
And he keeps talking about mathematics. Who's the only candidate right now that is basically running his candidacy based on mathematics?
Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang. Right. He's saying this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen.
He said if it doesn't make sense mathematically, then he won't talk about it.
Right.
And numbers don't lie.
Right.
And they will lie to me because I don't know numbers. But
and he's the only candidate that addressed the black wealth issue.
Right.
He was saying, here's the truth.
Right. And artificial intelligence, AI, is going to play a big part in helping to demise black.
And a lot of you guys out there, of you guys out there that work at Amazon and stuff, you guys know what he's talking about because you're seeing them moving the robots in right now.
Right.
So your job is got to here.
Yep. And Ricky says, then after you spend all your money on Christmas, by New Year's, mofos walking around looking like either bunker in the face.
Yes.
This fool crazy.
Yes.
He's bunker in the face. Yes, Donovan, absolutely right. It needs to go for us. True. Talking about the holidays.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Shamita says, I started checking accounts for my kids when they were young, age 12, to start teaching them about budgeting. It's important, especially young black men. Yes. Absolutely. Get your kids bank accounts. My daughter also had a bank account when she was very young, when she was in school, whatever the case is.
Her dad was a Marine. He's going to be Navy Federal. He's going to put her in there.
Well, I made sure she understood, financial literacy. She had her own ATM card and debit card and all that stuff, but it was just buy what you need. It ain't out.
I need to go to Coachella.
Well, she does go to Coachella every year, but she saves and budgets to do it, right?
That's right. And then Shemitah's son, he's in the Air Force right now himself, doing his little spill, which is smart because even if he decides to get out, he's a veteran. He's good to go.
He's got some benefits coming.
Right, he's got benefits coming. But Jaron's tight with his money. He's really good with his money.
I know that's right. And Al says, PSA, Demetra and Donovan do not need people in their lives. Stay away from them, please. I'll bring my thesaurus. We don't know what you said, but we with it. Hey, Chantel. And she's also put up the link.
Yes.
Again, if you guys are in the watch parties, please come over here to comment so I can see your comments, right? And so let's see here. Shamita says, I have a Christmas account where my credit union takes $75 a month. If I don't have it, you can't get it. I'm not charging nothing. Right. Absolutely. There are a lot of things that do have what they call Christmas clubs and stuff.
Right. Are you at Keesler too? Because I'm still at Keesler, so that's a military credit union down there.
Okay.
She's in Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, if you're saving to do that, but if you're spending your last dime, so everybody can. I wish I would.
I tell everybody, look, I'm here by myself. I got my animals. I don't have any kids to. I might get your card.
I just don't do it. I mean, I get people stuff throughout the year, but I'm not.
I got house insurance I got to pay.
I'm not finna do it on one day. I mean, a lot of times people will call me a Scrooge. I like Christmas music and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'm not one of those people to go along to get along.
Well, the thing is, I'm not really as I get older. I'm not really into the holiday because, like I said, my kids are grown. I like to go to the Christmas parties and interact. But outside of that,
could have had a VA.
Yeah.
Jonelle says, right, Donovan, certain things are evaluating. You can net your wealth, but very few of us even understand what the assets truly are. And the enrichment of the discipline of savings. The majority of us save nothing, more or less pay ourselves or set reserved for our intake of revenue. We party too much and do nothing toward the future vision. Absolutely. I mean,
wow, the truth hurts.
As I was telling this young man, I said, you could get a life insurance policy for your daughter who was a baby, and you will pay the same price until you go or she goes, God forbid, and you will never have to, the price will never raise. But in addition, you can get a life insurance policy that also acts as a saving vehicle. You can save money by the time she graduates high school. You have enough money in there to pay for college, get her a car, set her up in her dorm. If she wants to get married, you can pay for the wedding. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. So it's not like it's what they call a living benefit.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than, you struggled, 'cause, I mean, let's be honest, everybody. It's getting tougher out here every year. People are on the streets. Did you read that report?
I did.
Where the homeless is increasing like 3% or something like that from last year?
Especially in California.
Right. So there's nothing worse than your child graduates. They worked hard. They're not from no special school because they weren't, the GED school, good enough degree school, not those schools. We're talking about the regular high school. They made that achievement. There's nothing worse as a parent, and you have nothing to give them. For that achievement of doing what they were, needed to do.
It happens,
to start them.
But, it's just about educating ourselves and educating your children. And Teddy says, knowing my child has about 6 grandparents, I have peace only getting her one gift because she will bring home a lot more and has a January birthday. Absolutely.
Well, you got some good grandparents because me as a grandparent, they ain't getting shit.
Nah, that's Scrooge.
Wait. They want presents and they don't even come over and visit Grandpa? Oh, no.
And they even got no damn grandkids.
But if I did, that's what I'm saying. There's a parameter to it. How do you... Wait. And we're talking about money. This all ties in. And especially for us. We got our parents are getting older. People are getting older. Nobody wants to take it. They want to put mom in the house. You read that article where those girls were writing a fight club?
Oh, yeah, I did. I did.
And people, and I put it up on my post, and a lot of people were upset. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, they need to go to jail, whatever. I said, well, wait, let's look at this. If we would start taking care of our elderly ourselves like we used to do, maybe that wouldn't have been an issue.
So a fight club for old people.
Fight club for old people. But we're not there for our elderly. When they're getting elder, but when they die, we all in the Kool-Aid about what we gonna get.
We gonna have a fight club ourselves over their assets.
Over their assets.
Right. Hey, Johnny says, thanks for the knowledge. I hope our people listen. Me too. And you know what? A lot of people are listening.
If we can get one. Right.
And hey, Eddie says, good evening, my dear sweet sister, and same to you. And Al says,
I'm just here.
Chopped liver.
Good evening, Ed. Good evening. Good evening.
And Al says, unfortunately, people here in the South celebrate Christmas, even if they are broke, and know it has nothing to do with the Lord, because he said that's what Mama and Daddy always have, shaking my dander-filled head. Well, I mean, it just as Johnny Eddie alluded to, we need to educate ourselves. Yeah. Those of us who have the knowledge, us have the knowledge. We need to share the knowledge, because a lot of people just don't know. A lot of people just go through life doing, as you said,
what you taught,
what Mom and Daddy them did. You know,
tradition,
tradition, and it's hard to break tradition, especially like there's a lot of people our age. You know, Donovan's 60.